Okay, so thank you again for those who have joined. My name is Brenda Graham, and I am the Data Resource Specialist for the Office of Public Instruction. Today's webinar, we're going to review the behavior final validation and certification process. And this collection or this process actually begins May 11th and it closes on June 30th. For this particular webinar, we're going to be looking at 3 user guides. Those user guides, if you're not familiar with our AIM webpage, can be found right on the AIM webpage. You start here at the opi.mt.gov webpage, and under leadership and AIM achievement in Montana under data and reporting. If you scroll down to the bottom, there's tabs down here with a lot of information, and we're going to focus on the user guide tab. This is by collection schedule today. So if I expand that and I scroll down over here to the right, we're going to work with these 3 guides here: the setting up user access for validating and certifying district data, the secondary users, how to validate and export district data, and primary users for behavior, how to certify your data and send to OPI. If at any time you have any questions or need some clarification on anything, feel free to chat in the box. I'm watching it, so just let me know. Okay, so like I said, we're going to use 3 guides here today. The first guide we're going to be looking at is the setting up of the user access for validating and certifying district data to the OPI. So what does this guide help you manage? So typically in your district, you're going to have personnel or staff who export the data to do the checks. They're going to be doing the verification that everything looks right. And they may also be the person who, if it doesn't look right or something is missing, entering that behavior data. With that being said, at OPI, it's best practice, or we recommend best practice, is that as you go through the year, any behavior incidents be entered into Infinite Campus as they occur. Some districts wait until the very last minute, like as in the collection, and we just don't recommend that. You're free to use the software and put in any incidents that happen during the course of the year. It just makes sense, and I think it's better record keeping, and you're not hit with a lot of data verification or adding incidents at the end during the collection process. So the secondary person, like I said, is a person responsible for validating and fixing those errors. The primary person is a person who is titled the authorized representative in your district. They're the ones responsible for certifying the behavior data after everything has been verified. Both secondary and primary users need to have their own account in Infinite Campus. And there's about a 2 or 3 step process that you go through to ensure that those people have the rights that they need to be able to do the job that they're given here, whether it's secondary or primary. And we'll go over, I will show you how to do that here in just a second. So behavior incidents. So this webinar isn't about how to put in a behavior incident, but we're going to review what that might mean, an incident. So an incident which takes place during the reporting period, which is the school year, that meet the following criteria. And the criteria here listed are the incidents that need to be reported, that must be per OPI guideline and federal guidelines. An incident that results in an out-of-school suspension or expulsion, regardless of the length of time for any enrolled student, or an incident that results in an in-school suspension, regardless of the length of time. And that's for a student with a disability or a 21st century student as well. You can put in school suspensions for general ed students. The only incidents involving special ed or 21st century students are the ones that are only required for federal reporting. It's an incident, you would want to put in an incident involving weapons, drugs, violence, in which the perpetrator is any enrolled student during required for federal reporting. If you have any questions at all about 21st century students and who may need to be entered for behavior purposes or incident purposes, there's contact information here for Amanda Domino, and here is her phone number, and she can answer any of those questions that you may have. Okay, so before any of this can be done, like I said, these primary and secondary staff need to have their own accounts, and there needs to be some additional rights given to them. So I'm going to actually go into Infinite Campus. This is our staging test site or learning site. And here's where you'll start. That person needs to be entered as a person in Infinite Campus regardless, so that you can add the rights as you need to be. So once that person is entered, then you're going to go to search, and we're going to look at all people first. And I'm going to search for the person that I know is going to be my secondary rep. Or I'm sorry, my secondary person. Oh, hold on, I'm sorry. Oh, what is happening here? Oops, sorry. I have the wrong database, just a moment. Oh, I'm so sorry. Technology. Okay, so now I'm going to search for my person that I know I entered. That's going to be my secondary person. Whoops, all people. And that's John W. Smith. So the first two things that these people need to have is a district employment and a district assignment. So once you've brought up the person that you've added to Infinite Campus, you'll go into all people, search for that person, and you're going to start, you can't start with district employment. So that person needs to have, as soon as it pops up here, I'll show you. They need to have an employment record under district employment. So you'll just simply click new, and it's going to ask the start date. So we're going to put in the start date. Say this is just the beginning of the school year, for example. And that's pretty much all they're going to need in this box at this point in time. So you'll click save. Once they have that, you can move to district assignments. We're going to click new, and we're going to add the school that this person is connected to. So we're going to go to Monroe High School. We're going to give them a start date once again. And at this point in time, you can add any of this information down here, but for the purpose of what we're doing today, we won't need any of this information. So we're going to click save. And what you'll do is if he or this person that you have said is going to do the data checks and verifying of behavior data, if this person is going to do it for more than one school in your district, you'll have to add an assignment for each school. So let's say he has, he's also going to check for, let's go Jefferson School, and I'm going to put in start date again and click save. They will need an assignment for each building they need to do data checks in. Okay. So now that you have the district employment and the district assignment set up, they need to actually have the rights to do this. So to start doing that, we're going to actually go to user, and I'm going to search for this person again. And Here he is. This is his actual username. So I'm going to click on his username. And under user groups here, if I click on user groups, this person I know is going to be the secondary staff person for my behavior data checks. So this person is going to actually need data validation. So he's going to need this. So once you click on that, it pops it over here. And I'm also going to give him the all schools calendars for the year. And then I'm going to click save. So you can do all schools calendar here, or if you go to calendar rights over here, you can also give him specific calendars if you don't want to just give them a blanket. If he only has an assignment to 2 buildings in your district, he'll only have access to 2 buildings. But that other method just kind of blankets it so that you don't have to go over here and give them calendar rights to the actual calendar or separate. Okay, so I have just given my staff person, who I know is going to be the secondary person to do data checks, the rights that he needs. He's complete. Now we're going to go back and we're going to actually look for the person that I am going to make as primary, who's going to actually certify this data. And that person is Julie. Oops, let's go back to all people and let's start with, let's make sure that Julie has district assignments and district employment. There she is. Okay, so we need to look at district employment, which she doesn't. So I'm going to click on new and I'm going to give her the data she needs. And we're also going to do district assignments over here. Now, remember what I said prior, that if this person is somebody who's going to certify for all of your buildings, they'll need every one of these buildings in order to do that. I am going to just start with these 2 that I gave John. Okay, so now she's got her district employment and her district assignments complete. Now I'm going to go back to user. And I know it seems like there's a lot of jumping around, and there kind of is, but there's a purpose. User is the area that gives you tool rights and everything like that to your staff. So if I click on Julie here and I go to user groups, this time I'm gonna actually just blanket this and give her all schools current year calendar. And I'm going to go down here and I'm going to give her data certification rights, or the user group, which gives her rights. And I'm going to click save. Okay, so those 2 are complete in how they're set up for their user groups, their appropriate user groups, so that they can do data checks and verify. And then once that person is complete, then the primary person can go in and certify the data and send to OPI. There's one more step here. In order for the primary person to proceed with assigning, we need to go in and assign them their membership to the behavior certification. So since Julie is going to certify, we're going to make sure that she's actually a member of that behavior certification group. Without this membership per se, she cannot see the events to certify. So while she might have the user groups and the tools to do the certification with, If she does not have the membership, she cannot go in, she cannot actually see the events to certify. So to do that, we're going to actually go to the index tab, and I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom. And I'm going to look under data integrity tools, and I'm going to look at data certification and setup. This tool is really kind of unique in that if I select a type of certification or data validation, so I'm going to go here to behavior incident list to certify, and I click on that. It tells me everybody in this particular database that is set to certify. So, or validate. So these people here are all secondary staff. This person here is a primary person. I can add a new member, which I'm going to do for Julie. Right here. I'm going to make her a primary so that she can certify the data, and I'm going to make sure that it's active, and I'm going to go save. And now when Julie comes in here to do the certification for the behavior, she can. She's active and she's set as the primary certifier. If you go over here to certification category, you saw on the screen before, you can inactivate people from that screen. You can also do it from this certification category. So if you click on this and you go over to the behavior incident list certify, it gives you the same list. You can from here change who does what. So if this person, you decided that they were no longer the secondary and you wanted them to be the certifier, you can change it here. Or if you decided this person no longer needed access to either, you can inactivate them from here. And then you just click save. This is just one easy way to look and see who exactly has all these rights in your district for your buildings. All right. So that is review of how to actually add staff members to be able to certify and to be able to do that, to do checks to verify your behavior incidents. Are there any questions so far before we move on to the second part? Okay, perfect. So the next piece to this is talking about your secondary users, how to validate and export district data before it's certified. So this is a piece that you will do to ensure that all of your behavior incidents have been entered, they've been entered correctly, there's no missing data. This is the part that this is what this is speaking to. So the person that you've set up as a secondary user is the person responsible to do this. And you can have more than one, you can have as many as you want. It's just a matter of communication and that you ensure that somebody's doing this before the data is actually certified. So again, this guide goes over just exactly what a behavior incident is. Let me get in here and pull up my next. Okay. So this person is your secondary person, will be in Infinite Campus doing this under data integrity tools. So if we go to Infinite Campus and let me search for this person that is going to do our checks. I'm going to do this with a little disclaimer. I'm only able to show you so far into this program because this is a staging as a test site or a learning site. I can't show you everything, but I'll show you as much as I can. Okay, so he has, oh, just a second. Okay. All right, so I'm logged in as the user who is secondary user. And that is John Smith. So when he's ready to go in and it's time for the collection window to open, he's going to come into his Infinite Campus and scroll down to Data Integrity Tools under the index once again. So under the Data Integrity Tools, you'll see data validation and the definition groups. That is where he is going to go, or you're going to go to validate your data. And this brings up a menu. So we're looking at the behavior student data checks for the purpose of what we're doing today. Either one is fine to review, but for the purpose of today, I'm going to show you the data checks. So if you click on that, he's going to bring up a box, and this kind of tells you what's going to happen. It's going to show you the incidents that are in progress, incidents with a future date, which would actually be something you'd want to correct. Or if they're correct, you can just say, yep, that's right, move on. Any incidents that were referred to local law enforcement, incidents missing data like the state event code or state resolution code, and incidents without an offender role. If you scroll down on the screen just a little bit, this tells you what it's checking for. And if you do show description, it kind of tells you what the same data that's up here that tells you what's going to happen. So as you work through this, you're going to click on preview. And what this does is when I click on preview, and I'm not going to do it in this staging test site because there's no incident data in here, it churns and it spits you out a report. And what that report looks like is this. I'll pull it up here for you. It's going to look like this. Can you all see that? Okay. So what this is going to tell you is any incidents you have in progress, any incidents involving law enforcement, and so on. It gives you the number of occurrences. I will tell you that if you do have any of this, you're going to want to look at all of it. The in progress especially will not allow you to certify. And that is simply because anything in progress needs to be complete before the end of the school year. So you'll need to somehow go back and correct any of those errors that you can and make sure that everything at this point is added. This report I did not list the student data down here, but it breaks out each of these lines. So right here underneath this, if you had any in progress incidents, they would actually be listed here under this heading and show you who you actually need to go out and correct or take a look at and make sure that it's accurate. So this is just checks and balances. The list is pretty comprehensive. Like I said, it gives you all the detail below on each of those events that may have an issue, and you'll want to go in and clean that up. Once that secondary person has done that and cleaned all that up, you can actually go back and let your primary person know that it's time for them to go in and go ahead and certify the data. And it's really that simple. This webinar really isn't to go in depth into these incidents, but this is where, and really, I don't know that we would need to, regardless. This gives you all kinds of information on what the issues are. All right. So we've done how to set up the users. We've looked at what the secondary users' responsibilities are, and now we're going to talk about the primary user, or the person who's actually going to go in and certify your behavior data. And again, this guide just starts with what incidents are. and we're going to review an Infinite Campus, we're going to actually go to a user that is set up as primary. So you can see what that looks like as well. Okay, so Julie is our primary user, and John just let her know that everything is ready to be certified. So what Julie's responsibility is to log into her Infinite Campus and pretty much go to the same site. We're going to go to Index, and we're going to scroll down to the Data Integrity Tools, clear down at the bottom. For Julie's purpose, we're going to actually go to Data Certification and click on Event Certification. So what Julie should see when this brings up is it should bring up a list of events to certify. So she may have more in here, say CTE, many other types of events that need to be certified rather than the behavior. She may only be primary to certify the behavior. So that's what she sees here. Please don't get hung up on the fact that it's 2021. Again, this is a staging test site, so I'm not able to show the 21-22 list here. But once she clicks on this, the latest certification link, it's going to bring up a little bit of information. It's going to bring up what it is she's certifying, the reporting year, which you're going to want to make sure this is all accurate. When the event starts, so once that window is open, and it is not open in your Infinite Campus yet, it will not open until 5/11. So you won't see 21-22 here yet until it's open. If you do, there is also, if you click on it, you do see it open and you click on it. If it's still not open or there's some details missing that OPI still has to maintain yet and hasn't turned on, you will see a little red arrow here that says it's still not open. So you'll just have to keep checking back. This tells you when the collection is over, what type you're about to certify, and the data validation groups. So after you've selected all of that, you're going to want to locate this link right here. You're going to click on it and a report will actually pop up, and it lists all of your incidents for your school that both have a state mapped event and a state mapped resolution. And what you're doing at this point is just checking for accuracy. Your secondary person should have already taken care of validating and certifying all of that. You're just checking now for accuracy on your behalf and making sure that what you're about to certify is good to go. So, and just a special note, if you've done this before, you know this, but you know that this list will only show incidents that contain both a Montana event code and a Montana resolution code. So once you've done this, and you have actually, you go, okay, yes, it looks really good. You're going to return to the behavior incident list to certify. And you're going to scroll down and you're going to certify and submit. And a message will appear that your information has submitted. If you guys have more than one primary user on this certification, whether it's behavior or something else, each primary person needs to go in here and actually certify. Most districts, I think we see only one primary person, but there are reasons maybe in bigger districts that they might have 2 or 3. So if you have more than one primary certifier, they each have to certify. All right, so once your data is certified and submitted, then you can go back to data validation, and you can export the student list to certify, and I'll go back and show you where that is. You can view the certification status here, which you might want to do. You might want to click on it once you certify and download it and keep it in your files somewhere. But that's pretty much the gist of getting that data certified for the primary user. So now, like I said, your data is submitted. The secondary person can go back and export that student list once it's certified, so that you have a list after certification and not before. That's just a little bit of, again, checks and balances. So if you go back to definition groups, let's see if Julie can do it. I think she can do it. And we go back to the behavior student data checks. After that list is certified, let's see, data validation. Let me go back, just go back to our definition groups, behavior list to certify, I apologize. And you're gonna make sure that this user group field here, once this is open and that person has certified, what this will fill in with is data. It'll say data validation. So if you go back to your primary guide, I'm sorry, your secondary guide, and you want to print this list after certification, this is actually what you'll see in that box after that person has certified, so that you can print the list. All right. So basically that'll just walk you through downloading that report. It downloads in a CSV. And it walks you through, you select a local data set, you click on generate the report, and you can save that information to someplace in your files on your computer. Okay. So with that being said, that's really all there is to validating and certifying your behavior incidents. This is probably one of the shorter webinars, but at this point, I am finished with what I have to show you. Does anybody have any questions for me? Okay, well, if not, I thank you for joining me, and I will place this out on our AIM webpage as a recorded webinar. You can find these out, like I said, on the main webpage under AIM webinars, 21-22 recorded webinars, and they will be at the top here, this newest one. All right. Thank you for joining me. Have a good day.